Hello there, welcome back to Planet Zoo. Thank you very much for joining me today. I do hope you're well. And we are in our safari park today with a bit of an update. So in the last episode we were putting in this area here. So this is all our log cabins for people to come and stay the night in and listen to the wildlife, and they can venture out onto the side here without any danger of actually getting in touch with any of the animals, because the animals can't get up onto this area here, or at least I don't think they can. I mean, until I put the animals in the park, I guess I will find out then, but I'm pretty sure I made this cliff steep enough so they can't get up there, but we'll check that in one of the much later episodes when I eventually put the animals in. So next up is the next of our adventure tours. Now, as you can see, I have done a fair bit of work on this already. Now this episode is going to be fairly lengthy, I think, because it's going to include this adventure tour that I've already done and this entire island over here. So at the time of me actually doing this commentary, I have finished this island and this adventure tour, so I'm commentating on stuff that I've already built quite a bit in advance this time. So I can tell you I'm going to do it all in one episode, because the adventure tours, it's not that exciting to watch me do this again, so I'm just going to sort of zip through this, because obviously I've done the same. I've done two of them already over here, so you don't want to sit and watch me building this, do you? So I will just give you a brief show of what I've done. So yet again, the same entrance, the same sort of ticket office here, and the same building here for the cars to actually come into. So they come out this way, they come around here. As you can see, I've started the rock work. They come down here. It's quite a steep slope here, and then they curve around here. Got a little fake exit here as well. Then they're going to go around the front here. As you can see, they are already going. They come along here. They go underneath this little bridge here, and then they come under here and around here. Then I've put in some raised ground here, so they're going to curve up here and around. Obviously all this will be done with lots of rock work, etc. Excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Oh dear, do apologise for that. I didn't actually sneeze, but it might creep up on me again. I didn't want to sneeze at you down the microphone, I promise. Anyway, where are we? Sorry. So the tour is going to come around here. You can basically see the line that I've painted in the ground here. We've got our river crossing here, so I will put a fake exit here as well to link it up to that, suggesting that they can go across the river and join in with this one over here. And then it comes around the back of the plateau over here, around here, and then it skims along the side here, obviously leaving this is sort of like a floodplain along here, alongside the river here. So the cars stay up on this raised area here, and then they just curve back in, and I've built them a little rock tunnel at this end here, which they come underneath, up here, around here, alongside the pathway here, and then back around and into the building. So that's it. So as you can see, I have already started with a load of rock work, and down here as well. So some of these here I've actually created as these little blueprints, so I can kind of reuse them, copy and paste, and then I find it the easiest way to do it, and then I can just customize them and dot a few extra shrubs or a bit of extra rockery or whatever on each one. It just speeds up the process, because obviously there is a lot of very similar stuff going on in this park, and frankly I don't have the time to make everything completely unique from scratch. So I find if I just copy and paste stuff, and then you just dot some extra bits around them and customize them that way, it actually speeds the whole process up quite a lot. I'll be doing that with these bits down here, but I'll also be doing it with the rocks that I put on the side of the mountains. So these pieces here, for example, will be made into blueprints, and then I can just copy and paste them again just onto the sides of these raised areas, these plateaus, and then customize them as well. So there we go. So that's that. So what I'm going to do next, I will just give you a quick update in a moment of this completely finished, and then we will move on to this island. I will explain what I'm planning on doing over there. So let me just load up my next save progression and hopefully the adventure tour will be finished. Okay, so here we go. The adventure tour is done. So I've just done exactly what I said I was going to do. So just dotted more rocks around and bits of foliage and some fallen logs. So that just goes all the way around the whole course. Goes under here, and then over here I've done another one of these raised curved areas with a shelter under here, so all the smaller animals will be coming under here. Again, these will get a bit of extra detailing at some point when I do all the enrichment items and bedding and stuff like that as well. So yeah, so it comes all around here, then scoots along here. I've also done some of this rock work around the edge of the plateau here as well. So here's our false entrance coming down to the river crossing there. Some of these big trees as well. There will be some more detail going on around the outside here as well, but that's for a later episode. So yeah, just skirts around here. And it's fairly minimal. You know, I don't want this. I don't want any of this map to look crowded. It is meant to be sort of the middle of Africa after all, so it's meant to look fairly sparse. And then back up. I love this log line along there. I was really happy when I put that down. Really simple, isn't it? Just, you know, just decorating it with the foliage and quite a lot more foliage along here. Just fills it all in, makes it look nice and natural. I think it does anyway. Hopefully you agree. So that's it. That's kind of it for the adventure tour, to be honest. So that island is sort of done. There's more detailing that I will come back and do at some point, putting benches and bins down, and maybe a little bit more detail around this junction here. But those are little updates that I'll do sort of as and when I get round to it. I know from a viewer's point of view, you probably want me to focus on the larger projects. So that's what I'm going to do. So this island here. So my idea for this island here, I wanted to obviously make every island slightly different. So this one, I wanted again to have some viewing platforms on this one. So if you remember, we've done viewing platforms. The original viewing platform here was a large restaurant area with one large platform. Then we did our sort of cliffside one here, where the staircases come down the side of the cliff and loop around. Then what do we do on where are we on this island? I don't think well, yes, we had this one, of course. This is a viewing platform linked to this island, so that was a bit different. And again, I want something a bit different over here. So my thinking for this was to put this path going into the ground here, and then have an underground tunnel network where the path then comes out halfway down the cliff here, and you have these small viewing platforms. So similar to this one, but smaller, poking out the side sort of halfway down the cliff, and have them all the way around here. You know, 6 or 7 of them scattered around this whole island. So that was the plan. And spoiler alert, it worked really well, but there was quite a process to it. So I have several save games of the various stages of my progression. So that's how I am going to show you exactly what I did, how, when, where, why, etc, etc, etc. And it's turned out really nicely. I'm very happy with how it looks actually. So let's crack on with that. So let's see what I did next. You can get a basic idea of what I'm aiming for here. So you can see the pathway sticking out. So this pathway just sinks down into the ground, and then obviously it was all done with the tunneling system, and so the pathways just come in and then they stick out, and you have these round areas here. So each of these round areas will have a shelter built over the top with some supporting legs. So there's 3 there, and then you've got 4 around this side here. Just tiny little viewing platforms basically. They'll have a couple of benches on, probably maybe a picnic bench as well, and then inside obviously there will be decoration in here. So my thinking was to cover up the pathway and the roof, which I do, and also the walls, make it look quite sort of cave-like in here. But But yeah, at least you kind of get the idea of what I was aiming for, and yeah, it's quite a unique thing, I think, and it turns out really nicely. But for now, that was sort of the basics of my idea. I thought it'd be kind of cool, just if this was real, that you could just scoot through these tunnels and then just come out and stand. You'd see the animals down below you. You'd be able to view them off in the distance as well. Because the other thing about this island is that I've designed it at this end so animals can actually come up. Hopefully, I mean, that looks pretty soft slope to me, so hopefully the animals can actually come up here and roam around on the top of this island. So that was the theory, is that the animals on here will be coming right up to this fence here, and around this side as well. Obviously not this corner here. I had a plan for this corner, which you'll see later on. But yeah, so there will be a proper bit of sort of barrier fencing coming along around here as well. But yeah, so that was my idea, was that you could be standing here and you could see the animals actually right up close here, which is basically the only part of the park where the animals will be coming up to the pathways. This is the only island that excuse me, this is the only island that the animals can actually climb up onto, that the people are on as well. So yeah, so there we go. So now that I have the structure in place, I needed to start work on the cave system. I believe I do next. Decorating in here, covering up this pathway, because it doesn't obviously look very good like this. It looks all a bit, I don't know, it looks a bit fake, doesn't it? And I wanted it to look a bit more natural, so that was my aim for that. So let me load up the next save game and show you what I did next. So as you can see, this was my idea for covering up the ceiling and the floors and the walls. So the ceiling and the floors are made with two massive blueprints. So that's the floor, and then I just duplicated that up for the roof as well. So the flooring and the roof are a lovely sort of modern wood, and then the walls, I just created a blueprint of rock and went around and covered up all the walls. Not finished yet, you can see the odd gap here and there. But yeah, I think it looks much nicer like that. It looks a bit more, what's the word, a bit more cave-like, like it's, natural rock walls, and then they've just put in the floor and the ceiling. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with how it looks. There's obviously a lot more detailing to do, and each of these the exit areas here is different. So this is all going to be done with rock work, filling in around these entrances here. And yeah, eventually it looks really good, but obviously at the moment it still looks a little bit strange. But I want you to see my ideas and my progress, and obviously you can see here the sort of the unfinished article, and under here you can see it's all bitty and weird, but once you cover up all the gaps, it just looks completely natural, like these are the actual walls of the cave. So yeah, so that's my process. Obviously I've just done, I've just done a little bit of work up here and down the sides here as well, just to make it really look like you're delving down underground into a cave. Yeah, so I was really happy with how that turned out, actually. It was quite a big job, particularly doing all this wall in here, just manipulating the pieces in the right angles and everything. It was quite time consuming. This thing was pretty straightforward. I just made a massive blueprint and then just got it to the right level, and then copy and pasted it up to the ceiling as well. So it's an awful lot of pieces. It's a very big blueprint, but I think the overall effect is pretty decent. At the moment my computer is still running okay, so I can get away with this, with lots of pieces. It's mainly because there's no animals in the park yet, so it's not having to calculate what animals are doing, and it's not having to work out any traversable area. That seems to be what slows the game down a lot, is calculating traversable areas. Now I have recently bought an awful lot of new pieces for my PC. My brother is the PC expert, so I'm waiting for him to have a bit of spare time to come around and actually put it all together for me. So once that's done, my computer is going to be an awful lot better, and hopefully it won't struggle quite so much with some of my parks, because there's a couple of my other parks are now so big that my PC does struggle to run them. So hopefully soon I can get back into those parks and expand them all a bit more. And this one I know for a fact, when I make one massive enclosure all the way around the edge of this park, my computer will die basically, because I tested that out before I'd even built any of this, and it couldn't handle it. And that was before I even put animals in. So hopefully my new PC will be able to handle that a bit better, and I can actually get animals in the park at some point towards the end, because we're not too far off the end really. This episode is going to cover this island, and then there'll probably be one more episode covering what I do on this island, and then maybe one last episode where I do some detailing and then release the animals. So there's not a lot left to do. But anyway, sorry, back to the subject at hand. So that was sort of the interior done. Obviously I'm still doing more detailing here, which I'll show you later, but next I needed to create some kind of a shelter to go on here, and again it was a copy and paste job. So I create one shelter on here, and then I copy it onto all the other platforms as well. So let me load up the next save game and show you what I did. Our shelter's done. They are pretty simple. I didn't want to do anything too complicated and fancy. So this is a simple thatched roof structure here. So just a double layer. I don't know why I went into there. Let me try that again. So yeah, so you got the basic thatch. I used one of these dead trees as the support underneath. I thought that looked really nice, and it was just about the right size to actually connect with all the things. So it really does look like it's supporting it. So I thought that worked well. And then I wanted some lighting, so I went with these ball ones and just sunk them into the tree. I thought they kind of look funky, you know, a bit modern. Even though this is obviously a safari park, the odd touch of modern technology like that is quite a common thing in this sort of themed place. So I kind of like that. I've gone with a big picnic table in the middle here, and then a few benches around the outside. I put a trim with these African posts just all around the bottom here, just to sort of hide the concrete at the bottom. Obviously the tree does poke through the floor here, but I'm not too fussed about that. And then just put a few of these dangly African beads as well around the outside, you know, just to add that little bit of theming to it. Yeah, it's pretty simple and straightforward. Obviously just use the same supports that I've used on the big bridges here as well, and then I've copied and pasted that around each of the platforms, and I've also done the rock work around the entrances. You can see, so these are unique because each one was slightly different shape and size. So that was just a case of just plonking down rocks in random formations. Each one looks a little bit different, and obviously there'll be foliage put around as well. I had to go with this flat rock here because the edge of the pathway here and here didn't match up, and I couldn't really find a decent way of covering up the join. So I've just gone with some rock. I think it looks okay. Probably not perfect, but I'm okay with it. It does the job, you know. So, and obviously the same at the top, just this flat rock, just to blend the pieces together. So yeah, I'm very happy with how they have turned out. It'll all look a lot better once you've got the foliage put around it as well. But for now, I'm happy with these shelters. They look nice and suitably African, and I think if you were actually in the tunnel and you came out, I think you'd look at that and think, oh, look at that, that looks kind of cool. I want to stand under here for a while and look out at the animals. Ideally I wanted a round thatched roof, but actually I found the pieces just weren't the right size to cover this up with a round roof, so I had to go with this squared off outer layer and then a round bit on the top, because these pieces here, if I spread them out, obviously this is what you end up with. You can't blend them together with more round pieces. The round ones can only be 4 squares round, if you see what I mean. And so if you want it bigger than that, which I did it needed to be 3 by 3, not 2 by 2, then you have to join them with the square sides. Unfortunately, it's not great because I wanted the round base covered by a round top, but I wanted it to be thatched, so I didn't have a lot of choice other than to go with the square thatched roof. So yeah, not perfect, but I'm doing the best I can with it. And I think it's looking pretty good actually. I think my idea is coming together quite nicely here. I'm very happy with how it's looking at this stage, and believe me, it looks even better once I've finished. I can't actually remember what I did next, but let me load up the next save game and see where I progress. I think it's probably foliage around these entrances and some rock work around the outside before I start work on the top. But let me load up the next game and see what I did next. And here we go. I was right about the foliage. But first, let me just show you what I did on the platform. So I bought these viewing glasses over what are these called? Telescope things. Yeah, I love these. I've used them elsewhere, so I bought them across. So I put 2 of these on each of the platforms because they just add that little bit of extra detail that I wanted. And then the foliage around the entrances here, it's all just random, repeated foliage, the same stuff that I've put on here before. I actually found a new plant. This must have been an update at some point. I've never seen this one before. Nitraria retusa bush. I've never seen it. I've never heard of it in real life or in the game. It's just suddenly appeared today as I've been playing this. So yeah, I don't know. I don't remember them releasing a little patch or anything. I don't know why they'd put a random extra bush in. I'm pretty sure it's new. I've certainly not seen or heard of it before. So yeah, don't know. And then the rest of these, like I said, are blueprints. So I've made these blueprints. So they are, some of it is copied and pasted around. So you do see duplicate things, but you sync them in differently, and then you go along and you just add some extra little details here and then. It all just looks different enough that you can get away with it. I'm sure if you play this game yourself, I'm sure you appreciate my pain. When it comes to this sort of work, it really can be time consuming when you're doing a lot of rock work like this, going around such a large area as I've got here. It really could take me hours and hours, and unfortunately I do have a life. I work full time. I do this. I'm in the process of trying to move house, and I have all these things going on. I do not have hours and hours and hours and hours just to do rock work. So I do hope you forgive me for doing a little bit of copying and pasting occasionally with some of this stuff. I do then try to customize it. So this new bush, for example, see, isn't part of the blueprint because I've just gone along afterwards and just popped some of them on here and there. And obviously that the trees as well, nice and random. So in the end, you really don't notice that some of it is duplicated. Well, I hope you don't. If you do, I apologise. But I think the overall effect is really nice. I'm very happy with how that looks. And so next on the island will be, I'm not really doing around the bottom here yet. That will be the end of the project, I think. That I'll come back and do this because I'm not putting an adventure tour or anything around here. I don't need to do the floor yet. So I'm just focusing on the I keep calling it an island, but it's not. It's a raised thing. The plateau. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. So next on the agenda is obviously to do the top. So I need to get the barrier in place around here. I need to decorate that. I want to have some kind of a feeding station here or shelter so that people can stand around this bit and look at the animals. And obviously the rest of this will just be there'll be some rock work around here and various bits of foliage and rock work scattered around here, some trees. Eventually there will be some enrichment items, but they're not there yet. And then the last bit of the island that I do is a small project that I have for this corner here, because this is a bit that the animals don't get to. And that is basically a small cafe, so some food and some toilets and drinks as well. I felt I needed some of that because it's been a while since I've had any sort of food and drink stalls So yes, that goes into that corner there. But next up, I believe, is my work on this top area here. So let me go away and load up the next stage and see where I got to with the top of our plateau just about done. So I've done a bit of sort of small bits of foliage and rock work around the top here. This is the slope which the animals can come up. So again, just a little bit of rock work here, just to blend it all together with the the layers of the land. And then this is the main feature of this area, which is a shelter. I'm using the same shelter because I love it. Basically, I built this a long time ago, back in one of my very early zoos, and I keep reusing it because it's a lovely looking African shelter. And in reality, people, zoos and whatever, do reuse the same designs for things. So I have no issue with reusing this design. Obviously, it's not suitable for the things like the elephants and the giraffe to get under. I may well do some sort of shelter for them elsewhere, but to be honest, they really don't need it. But the smaller animals can all come under here and sleep. And this one, I've purposely made it so that it's got a bit of the water in here as well. I don't know why, I just wanted to sort of have it hanging over the water. I just had to extend the legs down here into the water. So that wasn't a problem. And again, just some rock work around here. And the barrier, I've gone with this fencing here. So I've done a sort of a rock pillar at the ends. And then the fencing comes along here and just around the top of this pathway here, and then just along the side here as well, and again ends just at this little rock barrier at the end. So that just makes sure that the animals obviously can't completely interact with the members of the public. So if you were walking around here, you could see the animals, but you can't touch them, because obviously some of the animals are going to be dangerous. Actually, I need to check if this is climbable. I can't quite remember if this particular edging is yes, it is climbable. So actually, I do need to put the top on that to make it non-climbable, because there will be some animals like cheetahs, for example, which will be able to climb over that. So I will have to go back and sort that out. But that's not a big problem at all. Don't really want the cheetahs climbing over here and eating people, do we? That wouldn't be good. They'd probably shut down my park if that happened. So there we go. So that's so that's that. I think that looks really nice. Again, it's very simple, nothing new and spectacular, and it's not that creative. It's just sort of more of what I've already done. But that's what this park is. I didn't say that this park was going to be full of completely unique things. It is a very similarly themed park all around. But hopefully I'm making each island just unique enough that it's interesting still. And certainly I think these viewing platforms are certainly different to what I've done elsewhere in the park. So hopefully you agree that I'm keeping the theme going without it getting too repetitive. I guess you'll be the judge of that. So that's kind of it for that part. The last bit of the island that I did was this corner here. I called it an island again, didn't I? It's not an island, it's a plateau. Come on, Adam, work it out. Yes, so this is the corner that I build a small cafe area in. So that was, I believe, that was the next part of my work, because the rest of this is basically done now. So yes, so I believe if I load up my next game, I'm not sure I've got one or two more saved games, but yes, this area here is next on the agenda. So let me load that up and show you what I did next. And here we are. So I've got quite a lot to show you this time. Let's start here. This is my small cafe. So it's a pretty simple design. I know this is the Arctic material, but actually I think it looks pretty suitable for the African look as well. So it's a simple thing. I've got a drink station, a food station, and some toilets in here. Simple building. I just decorated a couple of the walls here with some of the African design. So that one and that one, the two walls that the members of the public can really see. Then the front, again, just a bit of theming, some shields, these lovely canopies here, Got this lovely elephant head there and some more masks. Just an African pot with some with a fern in it. It's not a fern, it's a palm, I think, this one, isn't it? It's annoying me when I can't remember the name. The elephant ear plant, yes, okay, so I think it is actually a palm of some sort. I love these wooden beams, these curved beams. Originally I had a corner beam coming down here, but actually I thought that blocked the pathway too much, so I used these beams to angle as support for this roof piece, and I think that looks really nice. It's very welcoming, and it just looks cool. So I'm very happy when I came up with that little idea there. Obviously just covered up the edges of the paths here with rock work all around the edges. Put in a bit of custom fencing because I didn't want to continue this fence around all of this, because you ended up with fencing where I didn't want it. So I had to put some of this these African pieces here just to line the edge, and again just finished off with some rock work, some foliage. Got one of these lovely, what's this statue? African sculpture lion. Yeah, that looks cool, doesn't it? So that obviously you see that as you walk along here, so you can see the building, but you don't really know what it is. You get to here, you see a bit of African theming, you see this lovely statue, and you come around the corner and you go, oh, food, lovely, nice, there we go. Or, oh, I need the loo, and you dash into the loo. So yeah, so there we go. So that's my little cafe. Not anything around the back. I've just put some foliage around here just to cover the back, because it's a pretty plain building. Other than that, there's really nothing to look at there. Then over this side, again, because of the fencing issue, because I didn't want, basically if I wanted to put this fencing here on this bit and this bit, it would automatically put the pathway over here where I didn't want it. So I had to fill these gaps in, and so this is what I came up with. Very simple, just some information boards with some posts holding them upright. Low enough, I did them so low that obviously if people are standing in front they can read the boards, but they can then still see over the top and actually look at the animals over here. And then, yeah, it's not perfect, but I think it looks pretty cool. It's a bit different. I like it as you walk in here, or if you approach from this angle here, it's one of the first things you see. So I don't know about you, but when I visit zoos, I'm coming into a new area, I love seeing these boards telling me what animals I'm going to look at and giving me some information about them. That might just be me being a little bit anal about these things, but you know, I love learning about what I'm looking at. So these boards are very cool. I wish they had a bit more information on these really, but it doesn't actually tell you a lot, does it? Let's be honest. But they look cool. So there we go. So that's what I've done there. I have also put some bins and some benches down, and that's kind of finished off this top area really, and I think it looks really nice. I'm very happy with my little corner cafe here. I think that looks really nice. Fills that gap in very nicely, gives this island a little bit more purpose, because if this wasn't here, people wouldn't probably actually come over here, because there's really nothing for the visitors to do. Like in the game, I mean, in real life of course they would come over, but in the game you have to encourage people to actually come to all your different areas. So the other stuff that I've done is down underground, so let me go down here and show you. I've continued the lighting theme, so let me just get it to night time. And I've used these balls again. These are the same ones that I used in here essentially. I think they are slightly different actually, yes, but they're, you know, it's the same principle, having these ball lights that you can just sink into the walls. So that's what I've done all through these tunnels down here. I think it looks really cool. It's quite sort of eerie down here. So let me get it back to daytime. And this is the other thing that I've done. Obviously you can see I've put some of these rocks, so these are just the faux rocks here in sort of random piles along the edges, but I've also wanted some education boards down here, so I created this blueprint with some basic rock work and then three education boards sunk in, and I've just duplicated it all the way around the edge on different areas, sunk them in and decorated with some rocks, and then put random bits of education information on them. Just to give people a reason for coming down here, give people something to do while they're walking around down here, So they've got, people have got something to look at as they're making their way through the tunnels, and then obviously out you go to your viewing platform and you can see the animals. And it just finishes off this underground area nicely. Originally I was going to make this area look like a big underground cave with lots of foliage and stuff hanging down from the ceiling, but in the end I just thought that it would look a bit messy, I thought, and a little bit, quite frankly, it was going to take too long to do that. So I went with this more artificial roof and flooring and just kept the walls a bit more organic and natural. And I'm pretty happy with the outcome. I think it looks pretty decent. I'd like to put some benches down here. Let me show you why I haven't. I mean, actually, I can. Let's be honest, I can. The reason I didn't originally was because in a lot of this place, you can see the benches are quite far out from the walls, because obviously the pathway doesn't actually stretch right over to the edge. But actually thinking about that, I could get away with putting some benches, can't I? So I'll come back and do that at a later date. But for now, this is kind of it for down here. As you can see, it's just the same theming all the way through, and then you just pop out onto your individual viewing platforms there. You just keep on going and choosing which platform you want to go to, and then eventually, if you don't get lost, you'll find your way back to the stairs, or there we go, up to the stairs and back up here, and then you can go and get your drink and your food and go to the loo, and then you can wander off in different directions as well. So there we go. So that is the island done. No, the plateau done. Sorry, it's not an island, it's a plateau. And I'm really happy with that, actually. I think it's turned out very nicely. It's unique to the other islands. So let's just recap. The first island had the very large restaurant on it. That's the main sort of eating area of the zoo, the viewing platform and the viewing tower. The second one had this cliffside viewing area and our first adventure tour over here. Actually, no, the first adventure tour was on the first island, sorry. So the second adventure tour here. Our third island had the pathway out to this viewing platform and another adventure tour, and of course our overnight log cabins with their hot tubs, which I still really like. I think this whole thing looks very cool. I'm very pleased with how that turned out. And now our fourth plateau, excuse the dodgy camera work, our fourth plateau is unique because the animals can come right up onto here, or at least I hope they can. I'll find out at some point when I put animals in the park. It has another small restaurant area, and it has our unique tunnel system leading to our viewing platforms. So there we go. I'm really happy with how that has turned out. Hopefully you are too. So my idea for this this last plateau, I'm not sure how this is going to work, or indeed if it's going to work at all. So my thinking is that this is going to be covered by a very large hotel area, consisting of several large buildings, maybe with some gardens in the middle or something. So this is going to be quite a modern part of the zoo. So obviously, places like this need to make money. So they've got the log cabins here that you can hire out for overnight staying. That would be a big source of income. But there's also a hotel here. And it's likely to be quite a modern hotel. I don't think it's going to be completely themed as African as such. I'm thinking I want it to be quite probably white, sort of a limestone design. I'm really not sure. I don't know. I'm sort of making it up as I go along, actually. But around the outside of the island, what I want to do, I want to duplicate this platform here, this ring platform, and have several of these around the outside here, possibly over here as well, and have them obviously linked to the plateau with this main pathway, but probably linked to each other as well. So have sort of a looping pathway up in the air over here, and maybe going over to here. And I know originally I said I was only going to make this one way, so as you come in the entrance you have to go this way. I think I may put another pathway coming down here and actually linking over to this plateau, so that people have a full circle to walk around. Otherwise everyone is just doing this and not really getting over to the last island probably. So if I actually link that back in again, it just gives people that option, and it's going to spread the people out a bit more, get people walking in a different direction as well. So there we go. So I think we're making really good progress. I'm very happy with how it's looking now. There's still obviously some large areas that need a bit of detailing, although a lot of these areas aren't going to have much. They're just going to have a few dotted trees and maybe a few rocks here and there. I've got these little plateaus here that, again, they'll just have a little bit of detailing, but really not too much at all. And there will be some around the outside, but not much. This corner here needs a little bit. And there'll probably be a little bit of work in some of these shallow water areas here as well. There'll be, you know, some rock work and some reed beds and things like that as well, probably. But largely, a lot of this area will be quite open because you want that for the animals. You want the way I've done the land, you can see it's quite green around here. So this is where all the foliage is, and then you get these sort of brown areas. And the idea is that the foliage isn't really growing on a lot of this stuff. So again, here I might put some foliage around here, but then this will be basically empty because there's nothing there for the foliage to grow in. That's kind of my thinking. Because obviously you've got a lot of large animals that are going to be in here, elephants, giraffes, zebra, that sort of thing, and you don't want them all cramped there. You want to have lots of roaming space. So that's my thinking there. I just realised actually this island as well, this plateau, the animals will be able to get up onto this one as well, even though the people can't, but the animals can. And in fact, I think I made this one, yeah, this one as well. So there is a couple more here that the animals can get onto, but the people can't. So this island that we've just done today is the only one with the animals and the people all up on the same plateau. Right, so let's call it a day there. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed this episode. So just a few more episodes to go, probably. Maybe 3, because I think this project here might be quite a large one, so I'll have to see. That might spread out over a couple of episodes. And obviously the big finale will be putting in the habitat and actually releasing some animals. And I've still got a bit of work to do back at the entrance here where the animals are going to be coming in. So I've got some rock work here to do and some facility buildings, like, you know, a keeper's hut and a staff room or whatever, which will be around here somewhere. So yes, there's not a huge amount left to do, but enough probably for a few more episodes. So I do hope you can join me again. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you're enjoying the series. I hope you have a good day or a good night. And hopefully I'll see you again soon. Until then, bye-bye for now.